Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach, and today we're discussing the big trade talking point of this week, and that's Johannisen. He is of course out for like 10 weeks, something around that mark. It's months and months. He's done the hammy big time. He doesn't need surgery, so thankfully for him, that will at least see him back later in the year, but nonetheless, that means nothing for us as Supercoaches because he's got to go. A lot of people would have had him from the start of the year, would have been licking their lips at the point of difference sort of player they picked up at a brilliant price. I think he started at 418, and now all of a sudden your good work's almost been undone. You got some sort of value from it, which is great, but you'd be almost more disappointed. Well, you would be way more disappointed if you traded him in when I think a lot of people were looking at Daniel Rich when he missed. He would have been a popular trading target and you didn't get much, so you'd be extremely annoyed from that point of view. But the good news is, if you're looking for good news, is he did score 97 last week, despite being injured, midway or something through the third quarter. So he's going on to get perhaps his biggest score of the year. He was absolutely dominating. And while that's frustrating, we're all very frustrated by this. His 97 at least saw him not even drop. I think he went up 10,000. So that's extremely helpful because you do often see guys, I know like, was it Jimmy Bartell at some point last year? Or, see guys who get injured really early. And not only do you have to trade them out, but another kick in the guts is they've dropped 40k. So thankfully, we can be happy with that. But who do you trade in? I mean, he's at 462,000. He was a third highest averaging defender. I mean, at 462, he'd already risen quite a bit, but he still hasn't risen up to around that 500 mark. So it's a bit of a pickle for us. I'm going to run through some premium options and some lower end options, and just discuss what I think you should do and how you should manage it, and I'll give you my best opinion on it. So, first off the rank is, of course, Heath Shaw. He's the highest priced player at the moment, but for a reason, he's the very best. He's already dropped 60k. It still leaves him at 548,000. And his break-even is 124. He only scored 70 last week, so there is potential for him to drop a fair bit more. I personally see him dropping to around 510, 500. I mean, that's presuming he probably scores around that 90 to 120 mark for the next few weeks. He should still drop a reasonable amount. Basher Hooley, I'll just run through a few names. It's guys you can consider, then I'll talk it through what I think you should do. Basher Hooley's another bloke. He let us down last week with 59, but he's dominating. He scored 144 the week before. How about that for a roller coaster? He's at 541. Sam Doherty perhaps surprised a few. I've always enjoyed what he can do and always liked him as an option, but I didn't think he could produce these good of numbers just yet. 103.5 average, and he's at 491,000. Alex Rance, perhaps the form or key defender clearly, but one of the form defenders in the comp. He's at 531,000, 109.5 average, and stands up week after week despite what the Tigers are doing. Josh Gibson comes up into the Hawthorn lineup again. He's of course the highest averaging player in the back line, 122, largely due to his 191 or whatever it was a few rounds back. He's only played 3 games but has been dominant. Rory Laird, a great option as well, 516,000, averaging 100.8, so he's been impressive as well. Now, they're the premium options. Now, I do think you should be looking to get into premium. Now, I think Heath Shaw's the man you want to grab. I personally think if you're going to make this trade right now, I would go for either Heath Shaw or an Alex Rance type. Josh Gibson, possibly. But I like Rance and Heath Shaw the most. I think you would stay clear of Hooley, because we've got a stack of other backline options like McDonald tipping Woody, Marcus Adams, lighting it up already, Wiedering as well, that they're still making money. And Hooley is going to lose money quite rapidly. He's got that 59. If he still produces 2 110s the next couple of weeks, he's still going to drop under 500. And that's when I think we should pounce. So stay tuned for Basher Hooley. Pick him up very soon. Rance, I love what he's doing at the moment. He's ultra consistent and just dominating. Heath Shaw, you might be inclined, as I said, I think he's going to drop. You might be inclined, if you got more pressing matters, you might hold off a week. But personally, his break-even's 124. We know Shaw can get that easily. I'd be saying get the man in. Get in Heath Shaw. I like the option of Rory Laird as well. I like Josh Gibson. I like Docky as well. I all think they're very good options. Cade Simpson, slightly below par at this point in time, but I like those guys. Jared McVeigh is another one, but he's probably more in your Basher Hooley mould. I mean, McVeigh scored 82 after that lack of pre-season. He's probably going to have a bit of a slow start, I think he's a great upgrade target probably in 5 weeks' time, 6 weeks' time, whatever it may be. Now, you might just say, oh, mate, Shorty, I don't have 80k in the bank for Heath Shaw. I don't have 70,000 for Alex Rance. What do you do there? Get 80,000. Just get the cash. Do what you got to do. Nah, it's not that extreme. If you might be stuck, you might not have a player that you want to downgrade. But look, a bloke like Papley, if you got Papley, then you probably can afford to trade him down because his break-even 62 or something. He's a 224. Petrarca's come in, boom, just made you 120k. Go and do it. That's what I would do. Now, if you want to make some money elsewhere, or you're not really liking the fact that you're trusting Doherty or you're trusting Aleb, which I'm not sure why you wouldn't, they're very reliable, but if you want to do something different, or if you can't manufacture that, you don't have Papley, you just cannot get that extra 100k or whatever you need to upgrade. Well, here's some lower end options, and I'll just run through. Shane Biggs has been an extremely good performer, averaging 98.3 at 425,000. He's already, gone up a fair bit, of course, but he's obviously from the Doggies as well. They've been a revelation down back, but looking at the Dogs' back line, out already is Murphy and now Johannisen, of course. That puts a lot of pressure on Biggs, and perhaps what comes with that is extra attention as well. So he's untrialled by being a more attended to rebounding defender. He would have flown under the radar and continued to do so. Therefore, I do not think with these Doggies injuries you can rely on him. Too risky. Jasper Pittard at 554, averaging 95.8. This comes as no surprise to me. He's already had sort of that rebounding and always had it in his game to run off the back line. He takes the game on, and sometimes he'll turn over, sometimes he does something brilliant. But he's always had it in his game. I personally cannot trust him. I think he can be a bit too up and down, as Port Adelaide have proven to be. Now, I had a request to talk about this man, and for good reason. I'll give the name a crack. I think it's Oriazio Fantasia. I think I buggered up his first name, let's be honest, but I think it's Fantasia. Orazio, I think is how you say it. But he's at 329,000. He plays for the Bombers, if you're not aware of him. I love the look of him late last year. I think he played against the Pies. It might have been round 23 or something like that. Really good look about him. Takes the game on, run and carry, and I'm a little bit surprised by these numbers, but I was not surprised to see a real boost in his numbers and bumping right up. He's averaging 91.3 off just the 3 games. So I think he's been around 85 to 95 in all of his games. He's already gone up 50,000. So he's at 329. If hypothetically you downgrade him, you get 130k in the bank and he's going to come up in value. But I'm all about efficient trading. And to me, that's a nice trade. I don't mind it. But Fantasia, he's probably going to drop back to around that 85-90 average, you would think. He could potentially surprise us and still hold that 90 to 95, and that price could be very good. And worst case scenario, he makes $100,000 more, and you just trade him out to a fallen Basher Hooley. That could be potentially plan B or a left field sort of line of thinking. But to me, I don't necessarily like it. I like to be efficient trading. And my take-home message for what you do with Johannisen is he's a premium, so trade him out for a premium. Just don't get too fancy. I've heard people say they're trading Johannisen down to Burn Jones and then they're trading someone else down to Wagner. Look, I don't hate that sort of move. I like the fact it's making you money, and I do highly endorse getting in Burn Jones and those sort of guys who are making cash really at that rookie price, especially a few rounds in. Sometimes they're hard to come by once the season gets rolling. But to me, you'll be losing out on points. Johannisen, 3rd highest averaging defender. You want to get in as good as you can get. I really stress, if you don't have the money in the bank, well, just find it. You really got to find that dosh. I mean, most people probably have anywhere from 20 to 60k in their bank, perhaps more. I mean, if you just need to scrounge a little bit of money, you might look at Ryan Davis. You might look at George Hewitt as well. I know he's came back into the team, but his break-even isn't anything great, and his job security can't be too flash either. So, just find the cash. Look at Heath Shaw. He's the best going round. He had a poor week last week, but he gave away 3 free kicks in the first quarter, and he still pumped out 70. I mean, he's the most reliable player in the back line. So just, if you can get him, go and do it. If you like any of those other options I've said, I'd steer clear of Hooley and McVeigh, not because I don't like them, because I think there'll be far better value in 3 weeks. All those other options, Doherty, Rance, of course, Gibson and Laird, all very good options. Doherty, of course, the cheapest at $4.91. He may be tempting for some from a financial point of view, but I stress, if you can get Heath Shaw, go and do it. Petrarca's come in. We've got options left, right and centre and the back line. So find that cash if you can. There's some lower end options that I've gone through. But as I say to the fella who asked me the question on Fantasia, I think he's a good option. He's a romantic option, a bloke who's going to make some cash, a new fella. He's on the rise. But again, you're probably not going to keep him for the whole year. You're probably just trading him in to make some short-term cash with your fingers crossed that he averages 95. But the odds are he probably won't. And then, you know, it's not the worst move out in the world, but you're going to probably use 2 trades by doing it. Just make 1 trade. Johannisen, bang, premium. Sit him there. He averages 95 to 100 for the rest of the year, whoever you trade in. So I think that's a logical idea. I think it's what you do. Let me know your thoughts on what you are doing. I said I'd make this video and I hope you've enjoyed it. I think they're all the relevant options. I'll do another video probably tomorrow in regards to some players on the bubble, rookies to look at, maybe some captain options as well, and touch on a few things as the teams have come out just before. So let me know your thoughts, comment as always, give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys all soon.